Hey guys, welcome back to Wuthering Waves. In today's video, we are talking the 5-star character selector that we all get in the game. So after you do your first 50 summons, which is discounted, so it only takes you 40 pulls to get 50 summons, you get your first random one of these characters. Then after that, you get to select one that your next 80 pity goes towards, and you are guaranteed to get that character. So I want to talk about which one of these I would be going for, give you a basic rundown on all 5 of these characters, what their purpose is, how they function, and how decent they are, and whether you might want to pull for them. But before we go through anything, before we go through any of my sheets or anything like that, I just want to mention that obviously this is a game for fun. If there is a character you like the look of, go nuts and build that character. Go for that character. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. You'll lose out on a few rewards if you're not min-maxing 100% and reaching damage thresholds for the Tower of Adversity. But at the end of the day, having fun is the most important thing. So with that out of the way, let's get into the characters. So the first one I want to go through is Verena. Now with Verena, I think she's a fantastic unit for anyone to pick up, and I think she is like the safest pick for anyone. Once again, with these things, you will get one random character of these 5 before you go for your select one. So I just wouldn't, I'd be avoiding dupes personally. Maybe some whale strategies out there are involving dupes, but for me personally, I think you want to pick up 2 characters. So let's talk about Verena. Her primary role is healing and buffing. She is splashable in most teams. She's absolutely fantastic for this. She can basically be a supporting character in just about any team that you create with the basic characters that we have in the roster, which is a fantastic unit to have. Eventually, with Tower of Adversity, you will need 3 teams, and she is just a universal unit that can be put into anyone. She's basically that best pure support. She's like the only, we got Baiji as well as another option for that, but you know, she is basically falling into that best support role. She has an effective battle res. I believe it's actually like when you hit 0, you get a shield and immunity, but just think of it like a battle res essentially for one of your characters. You avoid death once. She has super fast Concerto energy regeneration. If you don't know what Concerto energy is, it's essentially a meter that builds up, and when you get that meter full, when you swap into another character, you will get to use this character's outro skill and the other character's intro skill. So this is a very important thing, and it means she's got really low on-field time, which is fantastic for a supporter because you don't want to support her on the field for a ridiculous amount of time, because that will eat into your DPS's time on the field and like lower your overall damage. So once again, fast Concerto generation, low field time is a big positive. And like I said, I put down here that she is a safe pick for any account because that is really what she feels like. She feels like the safe, if I had the gun to my head, I had to say, get this one character, she would be the universal one that I would say to everyone, pick up a copy. She's going to do you, like, she's going to do good by you, essentially. But once again, you don't have to pick her up. She's just the safest splashable recommendation, in my opinion, because once again, you will eventually need 3 teams, and she's going to sort out the supporting role on any one of those 3 teams. So you'll be pretty much set from there. Next up, we have Jian Jin. Now, she is, I've got written down shielding, buffing. She's shielding, buffing, grouping, damage. She's like the jack of all trades of the game. She has this really nice ability where it's like an invincibility counter, so you hold it, you charge, and then she goes into this invincibility stage, and when she invincibles the damage, she's going to then launch a counter attack. So it's a really cool little thing that she has with these invincibility iframes. I'm sure people will find crazy ways to abuse certain mechanics in the game with it. She's got massive shields. Her shields are ridiculous, but they have a slow cast time, and this is one of her biggest issues, is the cast time to achieve what she's trying to do. Now, while she's channeling her chi to generate these big shields, she is doing like pretty wide AoE damage essentially, but it's not crazy damage to compensate for the amount of time she does it. So the trade-off with these shields is she offers great survivability at the cost of your team's total damage output essentially, because she does eat into that time without essentially buffing, but it's more protecting your team. Now, I did mention that she has grouping with her ultimate. She has the grouping effect for enemies, and grouping effects are fantastic, especially for overworld, and that's why I've written down here on my notes that she is great for world exploration and general content, because you're basically never going to die with her on your team. You're going to be pretty safe in general. And then on top of that, you're going to have that grouping capabilities, that AoE, which is great for clearing mobs in the world. So she is fantastic for that. But like I mentioned, she's not the highest potential damage buffer in Tower of Adversity, just due to that fact that she does have that long on-field time. Now, do I think she is worth pulling for? She is actually a unit that I would love to get, but she kind of falls into my personal number 3 spot. But if I happen to get her for my first random, I'd be super excited with it because I think she is a great unit. Once again, she's more of that comfortable unit that just feels good to play, use in the overworld and stuff like that. I do think that eventually maybe there'll be content where she will really shine, where maybe enemies do deal a lot of damage and you've got to withstand a lot of damage. And you know, you need to do AoE. There's a lot of little units that you got to group. Like there will be, in my opinion, content that eventually she will definitely shine in. But at the moment, the main shining place she has is just world exploration. And general, just if you're not used to the game, she's a really safe unit for you to play. So I think that is where she really shines. But once again, not a bad unit, just sacrificing a bit of team damage potential for survivability, essentially is what she does. And once again, this is based off CBT2, so if anything does change, I'll leave it in the pinned comment, and if there's massive sweeping changes, then first thing I'll do when the game launches is update this video. But most of these principles on the characters should stay pretty much the same. Next up, we have Kelcharo. Now, for this guy, I've got his role as main DPS, and I just wanted to clarify something because I saw in the comments on my previous video when people were talking about Yinlin, saying it sucks that there's no waifu main carry, like, I want Yinlin to be my main DPS. When I say main DPS, I'm talking about damage dealers that have very selfish kits that don't have any buffs for teammates. They're more focused around their own damage. Then when I look at hybrid DPS slash sub DPS, maybe some people want to call them, I'm looking at characters that have damage, and damage is their focus, but they also have buffing effects, kind of like Yinlin does, and we'll talk about that in a sec. And then supporters, raw supporters, are kind of more like your healers and raw buffers that don't have as much damage output. So that's the kind of thing I'm looking at. I just wanted to clarify that because people were concerned about it. Just know with this guy, he has a really cool playstyle that I saw some dudes on Bilibili going nuts with, just him and Yinlin, where they were basically just rotating between these two characters using their cancel animations, where you swap during an animation, the character stays on the field, you play as the next one, and they both have cancel animations, and basically the whole battle, these dudes on Bilibili had these two characters on field the whole time. It was absolutely insane. So there is those types of things as well. I just wanted to clarify that. But Kelcharo, he's a selfish DPS unit. And he has that great combo with Yinlin. Now, Yinlin is our second rate up banner character, and if you are planning on pulling for her, I think that makes your Kelcharo stocks go right up because he synergizes so well. Resonance, Liberation, damage is his main damage source, and Yinlin buffs both electro damage, which he is electro, and also that Resonance, Liberation damage. So that synergy between those two effects are fantastic between these two. So that's why Yinlin and him pair so well together. Now, the other thing about this guy is his ultimate, most other characters, their ultimate window is around that 14-second mark. His is a 10-second mark. Whether that gets extended at launch, we'll have to wait and see. But, you know, he's got that lower window, which means when we look at his damage rotations, he's got much tighter windows on getting his full damage rotation in during his ultimate. And if you do, like, get hit and, you know, flinch or miss a rotation, have to dodge too many times, and you miss, like, the buff duration for his full combo, you do get penalized a bit in damage, but once again, that is something that as you play a character more, you will get used to and you will avoid as much as possible. Now, he can also linger on the field after swapping. I mentioned that in his combos with Yinlin that are really cool. We'll have to see if they do anything to nerf that, because we did see a lot of teams in the beta that were actually more effective in 2-man teams than 3-man teams, so I don't know if they're going to try and alleviate that in some way. We'll have to wait and see. And the last one here is, it may not seem like much, but he shares a weapon with Jian. They both have the Broadblade. Now, the thing about this is, for spenders, I think he might be a great pickup. The reason being is, spenders, if you're going to get Jian and his weapon, and then you're going to pick up Yinlin, then that's a great combo for Kelcharo, because now you've got a good weapon for him in Jian's weapon, and you've also got Yinlin to support him. So I just wanted to put that in there as like a side note. So spenders picking up a copy of this guy, like, and I'm not talking about Giga Whales. Giga Whales are going to have everything, but if you're like, you know, just spending to get the new characters and the weapons, keep in mind we do get a bunch of currency, you know, at launch, so you might be able to like spend and get a little bit to get Jian and his weapon, and then go ahead and get Yinlin, depending on RNG, all that sort of thing. But just keep in mind, he does share that weapon, so he will get that benefit from the first character's weapon if you're going to pull for that anyway to have on Jian. So that is that one. Calcharo, all-round great unit. Like I said, most probably, if you are going for Yinlin, this is the guy you're going to want to pair with her because they are a fantastic combo. Next one we have is Encore. Once again, she's that more selfish DPS type unit. She is ranged normally, but when she is in her ult mode, she goes into a melee type unit. And her main damage source, like the bulk of her damage in her rotations, is going to come from basic attacks. Now, the one catch is when she's not in ult form, she can't parry with those basic attacks. Now, she can still, I'm pretty sure she can still parry with like plunge attacks. There are different things you can still parry with, but just keep that in mind as a thing with some of the ranged characters. She can linger on the field after swapping. So the basic way she's going to work is she's going to be doing like full rotations. Then she's going to ult to do her rotations. At the end of it, she's going to do a hold attack where you can charge it and you can swap out into the next character while she is charging it. And then she will continue charging on the field when you're in the next character, and then she will explode. So it's a really cool thing. I do like those swap canceling where you swap a character out, the other character stays on the field, keeps doing their thing, and away they go. I think it's a really fantastic touch on some of the characters, but that is the essential way that she is going to work. And I've written here less DPS loss from mistakes than Calcharo. Basically, if you mess up her rotation towards the end, you're not going to cripple your damage as much as you would with Calcharo messing up his rotation at the end. It's not a massive issue, but I just thought it's something of reference for people, because if you're like me and you have skill issues, maybe it's something you consider. But for me, not really. It's all about who is the coolest character, and let's face it, this dude looks way cooler than her, in my opinion. Don't hate. It is what it is. Everyone's different. All right, moving on to the last one, which is Ling Yang. This guy, once again, another DPS unit. He has a very interesting kit. I am not a fan of this guy. He basically goes airborne during his totem stance. Now, he's got his energy bar that builds up over the time, and when he gets it full, he can go into his totem stance. Now, when he uses ultimate, he gets extra buffs, and then he gets the full gauge, can go into the totem stance, and he basically gets sort of airborne. And while he's airborne, he's going to continuously juggle the enemies, keep them controlled and floating around. Now, I've written here that it's like awkward hitboxes and movement. So when he's in this totem stance, it feels really cool the first time you do it. But the thing with it is that you have like these awkward hitboxes where enemies can be just below your hitbox because you're up high and you're hitting here. Enemies that didn't get juggled up can sometimes be like missing on it. So it's like that little bit of an awkward type feel. Now, I'm sure as you play him more, if you want to main him, you will get used to this and you will make adjustments for it. That's just the first impression I got. And the movement of it when you're like up on those totems does feel a little bit just, once again, awkward is the best word. But once again, if you like this guy and you want to main this guy, I'm sure it is something you will get used to. Now, once again, this last point, I've written lower DPS potential than Encore and Calcharo. That is based on early calculations. Now, we will have to wait and see. Check the pinned comment as always in these things. If that changes and he's like the best DPS, that would be a big change for him. So I will let you guys know in the pinned comment, and I'd probably make a whole nother video on that as well. But I will keep you guys updated as we find more. But at the moment, it's looking like his DPS potential is going to be lower than Encore and Calcharo. But once again, if you do want to main this character, the game is about picking characters you enjoy and having fun, and that should be your primary concern. So if you do want to play him, don't feel deterred from that. So as a quick recap on all the characters that we have from here, I think the safest bet to recommend is Verena. She's a great support that can go in just about any team. Jian Jin, sorry. Dude, I suck at names. She's honestly just a great general character for players that want to feel comfortable in the game. Not the max DPS supporting unit, but still a fantastic unit nonetheless. Calcharo, basically, if you're going for Yinlin, you'll want to have this guy. Encore, just a great all-round DPS if you're looking for another DPS option as well. And then we got Ling Yang, who is my personal lowest priority, but still, if you do want to use him, you can go ahead. So that is my thoughts on the standard banner characters that you can go ahead and get your selector for. I think it's fantastic that we essentially get 2 characters. One of them is selected from this banner, so you're going to get 2 out of 5 without a doubt after 120 pulls, which I think is fantastic. Let me know who you guys are going for. As always, thanks for watching. Hope you have an awesome day, and I look forward to seeing the next one. Cheers.